Hello, friends, brothers and sisters in the Lord. Nice to see you all. And I just want to let you know that I've always had a fascination for the end times. And I've always tried my best to understand the book of Revelation, though it took me quite a while. And enjoyed reading the book of Ezekiel and Joel and Daniel, because I'm always curious to know what's going to happen to the world. And what I'm going to share with you is nothing specific from the book of Revelation or the Bible, or my title for this evening's message is 12 Things That Must Come to Pass Before the New World Order is Established. I think all of us are now familiar with these terms, New World Order, or the One World Government, or the One World Economy that's attached to it, the one world religion, and we are experiencing something which we have never been through in our life. All of us locked down. There's nobody outside. Only the birds and the animals are here in India, and all the people are inside. And something is happening behind the scenes. Maybe the world is getting ready for the 5G. They are laying the cables or whatever needs to be done to bring in the 5G, because the 5G plays a very important role. You know, it's very important for the artificial intelligence to work, and how each person can be tracked, your bank accounts, the things that you own, your religion, your passport details, all these things to be monitored. We need to go to a higher level. So we are moving on from 4G to 5G. And that's why the whole world is locked down, because they're preparing for the one world leader, who we also call as the Antichrist, or biblically, according to the book of Revelation, the beast. So what I'm going to share with you would be just plain information that we all need to know. What is going to happen in the coming years? When would the time be ripe for the one world order to be given his seat in Jerusalem? So before that, what is that needs to be done? So we need to be on the watch out, because Jesus said, watch and pray. In other words, be alert. Look to Israel. Look to the things that are happening in the Middle East. And so I just want to share some very plain things, what I have garnered, what I have gleaned and collected over the years, the last 25 years to be very specific. Since 1995, I've been very diligently reading the papers, and I've been marking it down. So what I'm going to be sharing with you is not really biblical stuff. These are things that every citizen of this world needs to know if you're going to live through this decade. So my title, once again, 12 things that each of us should know before the new world order is established, when the one world ruler comes and takes his seat. Now, the first thing, because I remember writing this way back in 1997, I used to be part of many end times conferences. I remember in 97, I traveled all the way to Colombo, Sri Lanka, just to attend the late Barry Smith meeting. Wow, he was a wonderful man of God who used to give us so much of information about what's going to happen, and sadly he passed away in the year 2000. So what I have with me is what I have collected all over these years. So I'm going to leave with you 12 things that must come to pass before the new world order, or the one world government, is established. So let me go to point number one, or fact number one. Reminding you once again, this was written long back. There will come a time when all small businesses will be destroyed, and at the same time, a pretense will be made as though small businesses are being helped. And that is precisely what is happening in India, and I'm sure it's happening in many parts of the world. Now, how to execute this plan? How to close down small businesses? Very simple. Increase the taxes to gigantic proportions like never before. The VAT, the value-added tax, the GST, and the consumption tax, increase it 18%, 28%. And the small businesses, they cannot survive. So one of the first things that you will see happening right before your eyes, that all these small businesses will be closed down in the coming years. Very soon, this will happen, and we are all going to be a witness why these businesses are being closed down. And right now, you see, nobody is actually truly bothered about the economy. There are many ways, you see. You can even control this corona, but they have kept us inside. I'm not sure when we are going to come out. It could be even after June, July, August. No work going on, right? So watch me carefully. The second point of the day: farmers, farm businesses, and farm-related towns will be ruined. You know what's been happening in India last year when all these farmers went and lined up near the parliament? Nobody was willing to listen to them. And when they came back, many of them committed suicide. So what do you think is happening? There is something sinister behind all this. The globalists are working, right? The Luciferian elite, or you can call them, like the Bilderbergers. I can give you so many names. The research that I have done over these years, the plain work, the deep state, or all these are terms that's working behind the scenes to bring this one world order, the new world order, into effect. Now, what is the reason behind, the farmers losing their businesses and all that? Because the first principle, what this new world order will operate on, is by controlling food, individuals can be controlled. Now you see the lockdown. Every day I have an apple before I go to bed. Each apple costs me 75 rupees today, a small apple. When we come out of this lockdown, let me tell you, it's going to be costlier. You might have to scramble. Things will be very different after this lockdown. So by controlling food, individuals all over the world can be controlled. So that's point number 2. Now, the third one, education will be ruined. Down the drain, it's going to go. When I was a student in Bishop Corey High School years ago, we used to wait for the Friday evening bell at 4 o'clock. And when it rings at 4 o'clock, we are out there, going home, and we want to play cricket during the weekend, right? And some of you from Royapuram are watching this. We've had a lot of fun, running home, and, Saturday, Sunday used to be a holiday. And Monday morning, invariably, every student in our school used to have what I used to call it the Monday paralysis, not really wanting to go to school. Just over a weekend, you don't feel like you want to go to school, right? Now imagine, schools are going to be closed for months together. It will be very difficult, for the minds of the children to get back to study. No matter how you study from home, being in school is very different, right? So whoever be the authorities of the day, the people behind all that's happening today, the governments of the world, I really wonder if they're bothered about education, because this was already stated many years ago by the end-time preachers. Look out for these signs. Jesus, that's a different sermon altogether. What Jesus said would happen, what would happen to the sun and the moon and the sea. So all this is different, but I'm only speaking to you very simple things, what we can all watch out, what's going on throughout the world, right? Number 4, all the pharmacies will start closing down one by one. Keep a watch, right? So as far as secular people are concerned, let me tell you, this is what they would be watching. Things changing. Just within a span of 6 months or 4 months, the whole world has changed. Just that the platform is being set for the one world government, for the one world leader whom we read in Revelation chapter 6 verse 2. The man coming on the white horse with just a bow and no arrows, right? No one comes to conquer with just a bow. So We learn from Revelation chapter 6 verse 2 that is deceit. I've already shared this many times. I actually promised you that I'll be talking only these things and not go to the Bible today, right? But I'm just reminding you, okay? And that's soon going to happen. A man coming on a white horse from the desert, the Middle East area, the one world reader. And next we go to the business world. The catchword during this time is merge, merge, merge. Merge until all businesses is just brought down to 6 big companies operating in every individual country. Mark my words, there's going to be 6 big companies only. And all these small businesses, as I said earlier, will be closed down. In every country, there'll only be 6 big businesses, right? And the big 6 companies I've been talking about, they will set up giant supermarkets and shopping malls, selling anything from a safety pin to a helicopter. And that's when you will see companies like Amazon, then you have Google, Tesla, all these companies will be in the forefront. Big, giant supermarkets. So you won't have many companies. If somebody's making tire, you won't have Dunlop and Seat, no, Goodyear. It's just these supermarkets will deal from a safety pin to a motor car to a helicopter, right? Now, the stage is being set for all the small businesses to be closed. Okay, so while talking of mergers, centralization will get rid of the local government mergers. Now you're going to see this happen very soon, whatever I've been saying. And let me tell you, I'm not a prophet, right? What I'm just sharing with you is someone who has diligently done his homework in the last 20 years, looking at the things, what's happening in this world, reading newspapers, attending conferences, end-time conferences, and just making a note, because I believed God called me during these end times to be an end-time preacher, a whistleblower, someone who would blow the trumpet, before Jesus Christ comes again. And let's go to point number 6. Now, I was talking to you about 6 big companies, right? Now we will go to the media, right? Let's go to the media now. 30 years ago, 50 different corporations dominated the mainstream media. Now that control has been centralized to 6 major corporations already, right? Now let me give you some names, right? It's all done. It's happening, right? The world is getting ready. Those of you who never believed the Bible, please start turning to your book of Revelation. You will see Jesus said, not one word will fail to pass. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words shall not pass away. The King of the universe has given these words to us. So what you see in the Bible will soon come to pass. This decade is going to be very tough for every citizen in this world, and not only for Christians at the moment, right? Now, let me give you this a few details that I have gathered about the media. You have GE, you have News Corp, you have Disney, you have Viacom, you have Time Warner, and then you have CBS. Now, these people have bought out all the other ones. So let me just give you a few names, right? GE owns the Universal Pictures. News Corp owns the Fox and the Wall Street Journal. Disney has the ESPN and the Miramax. Viacom has the Paramount and the MTV. I'm just giving you some examples. Time Warner has CNN, HBO, Time, and CBS has Showtime and the Smithsonian Channel. All these things have been happening in the last 30 years, right? From 50 corporations, it's now come down to just 6. Earlier I told you that there will be only 6 big companies. Also, just listen to me, mark my words, only 6 big airlines will be crisscrossing the world in the years to come. How many airlines do you think will get back to action after closing down for months together? Right? Look out. There'll be 6 major corporations, media, the mainstream media. There'll be 6 big companies, and there'll be 6 major airlines flying all across the world. Right? Now we come to point number 7. National sovereignty will give way to internationalism. Right? It's not about the Indian rupee. It's not about the American dollar. It's not about the Malaysian ringgit, or it's not about the shekel. Internationalism. There will be a one world currency, right? After all of a sudden, overnight, everything will crash, right? Your rupee will have no value. You might have saved and kept so much of money in suitcases, right? Hidden in your cupboards, but it will not have value. Let me tell you that, right? Because the world is now heading to a cashless society. This internationalism that I'm talking about will not have any more plastic cards, debit cards, right, credit card. We're actually moving on from all these to Bitcoin. And very recently, I was reading an article about Israel where the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that very soon they're going to come out with the digital shekel, right? Digital shekel. So all that we are waiting for is a cashless society. Last week, while reading the newspapers, I found out that in China, now they have the digital yuan, right? It's all happening very soon. So I wouldn't give more than a decade for all these things to be put into place. And all that has been said in the Bible will happen. I wish we are no longer here. And I wish that all Christians will be raptured, right? So now when it comes to that point where it talks about a cashless society, what's going to happen? All this will lead to the mark of the beast. We carry our money in our right hands or in our forehead. We go and stand before a vending machine. It'll catch it. It'll be able to, read it through, and you'll have your Coca-Cola dropping in, right? You don't have to take your purse and take currency. You don't need currency anymore. It's going to happen very soon. It's already happening in many businesses, big businesses, where some of the people working there, they have been inserted this chip or something as much as big as a rice, right? And they take it on the right hand. Okay. And so all of us, if we need to buy and sell, we go back to Revelation 13, verses 16 to 18, unless we have the mark, right? We can't buy, we can't sell. All this I used to think, there was a time when I used to think, are these things very real? Do you think this is going to happen? But now I'm very positive. Not that I'm a gloom and doom preacher, please, right? I just want to warn all my friends that this is all real, right? So we need to get ready for the things that's about to happen. Let me go to the next point, point number 8. See, once again, this was written long back, and here this is what I have written down in my notebook. Satellite cameras will enable the new world order people to photograph the world along with cities and towns long back, long before we've come with this GPS, which we have now. This was said sometime in 1995, 1997, how all the satellite will take the photographs of all the cities and towns. Then, if you had a GPS with you, if you had a mobile with you, just a mobile phone, morning you might leave Footscray, right? And by the time you reach Lilydale or Dandenong, so remember, the one world government leader will be able to track you down where you are. You can't hide. That's why Jesus said, where will you run to? Can you run to the caves? Can you run to the mountains? You will be tracked, right? The world is ready with all this now. satellite cameras have taken. We all have the mesh blocks that we know, right? And every human being all over the world can be tracked, or let me use the word policed, by the leader of the one world government. And without 5G, this cannot happen. So there's no way that we can get rid of the 5G. And that's why so much is going on in the world today. Once again, all this lockdown, I just believe that Corona is a cover-up, right? And more than that, unless this 5G, comes into work, it's not going to happen. So let's go back to the next point. All these things are so real today. So I want to take you back to a news article way back to 1992. This is from an Australian newspaper called the Herald Sun, released in the business column on April 10th, 1992. So let me read the headlines for you. Way back in 1992, collapse of Japan will bring in the new world order. Collapse of Japan, I come again, will bring in the new world order. Okay, it has been said that the value of real estate around 300 square kilometers in the south of the city of Tokyo will be equivalent to the real estate value of a large portion of the United States of America, right? I don't know, I have never been much into Tokyo, but this is what it says, right? And the crash of the real estate market will either be set off by an earthquake or through the stock market collapse. Now, when this happens, what do you think? What is the ripple effect? What's going to happen throughout the world? The yen, the Japanese yen, will be devalued, number one. Number two, the US dollar will crash. Number three, the German mark, or today we have the European euro, will also come down. And finally, God bless us, the whole world economy will crash. Okay? Then when this happens, the 666 will appear. Right? So, next point. So I'm going to finish very soon because I don't want to speak much. You need to be concentrating, but let me keep it short. I've come to point number 10, fact number 10. Look out. One global army will replace all the existing national armies. It will be a one world army, right? One world army for a one world government, for a one world leader, for a one world economy, right? This is what is going to happen. Once again, I need to pause and take you back to the 1990s. We all remember the Gulf War, right? I had just graduated and I was trying to find a job and I was working somewhere. And at that time, I had a lot of time to see the television and, note down what's coming on the news. And so here I remember one night, President George Bush Sr., the late President George Bush Sr., was speaking on television and was announcing the attack on Saddam Hussein's Iraq. Okay? He first used the term world order and then went on to say new world order way back in the 90s, I think either 1990 or 92. So the new world order in coded language means one world government. Okay? Now, just for the record, the term New World Order was also used by people like Mikhail Gorbachev, Bob Hawke, Henry Kissinger. Many of them have used this, right? And I can give you more information on that when I speak about just the New World Order, right? I have a lot of points with me. So that we will probably talk about a little later. As much as information I can give you on the New World Order. Right now, I want to tell you something, that the Gulf War was an arranged war. And guess what? Those who fought in the war thought they were fighting to keep the world a free place. But in actuality, they fought the first battle under the New World Order Army. Right? So there will be one world army. And this one world army is what Jesus will have to come down with all the hosts of heaven, with all the people in the white horses, with all the riders. And the last war, the battle at Armageddon, is going to be where? In the Megiddo Plains, in Israel, with the New World Order Army, the one world army. Right? Let's go to point number 11. Look out for the building of the third temple. People in Israel have already been talking about it. I'm sure so many of you who are in Facebook would have seen this so many times, that the Temple Institute in Jerusalem has got all the materials ready. It's got the anointing oil. It's got the garments that needs to be made for the high priest. Everything is ready. The moment it gets the signal, right? Go ahead, signal. Just like that, in less than 6 months, it can be completed, right? So we don't have much time in hand, but as Christians, we need to get ready, right? Because that's where the one world ruler, or the Antichrist, or the beast, right, and will be seated, and that's where the one world religion, who's the false prophet, according to the Bible, will be in charge of the one world government, one world religion, he'll be in charge of the one world religion, right? And the beast will be in charge of the one world government. So, and this false prophet will be the campaign manager for the one world ruler. He will do many signs and wonders for what? To establish the one world ruler, right? So all this is given very clearly in the book of Revelation. Now finally, what is it that you're waiting for? The Third World War. I'm not sure whether this is the real Gog-Magog war that we read in the Bible in Ezekiel 38 and 39. I'm not too sure, but all the Bible preachers seem to be saying that it's the Gog-Magog war. It could be the same thing where Russia is involved, right, in the future. And it involves Russia, Gog and Magog, it involves Russia. Okay, now, I'm not very sure, but look at the Middle East, look at the tension around that area. USA versus Iran, right? Anytime, anything might happen. And then already you see Russia after Israel. And then you see Turkey and Syria. We don't know. And now, recently, China has got into the game, right? And you find all the US warships getting close to China. What's going to happen? Who's going to be who? On which side of the battle? So two teams fighting for. And it could be the Third World War. And I want to include that also before I finish. So these are the 12 things, the 12 facts that you need to know and carefully look out. Some of the things that I have said, you already need to put a tick. The surveillance I spoke to you about satellite and details like that, I said, you can already put a tick. Farmers will be ruined. Already, we are very close to many things we are very close to, right? And so it's not going to be too long that we will have the Antichrist. Antichrist is a very biblical name. So let's say the new world leader, right? The new world order is what everybody is talking about. We can see so many messages in Facebook talking about the new world order, right? And I'm sure all of us who are watching, you're already familiar with that. And thank God that God spoke to us all these things through his Apostle John 2,000 years ago. Oh God, who knows the beginning from the end. So what we are just seeing happen, most of it from the book of Daniel, the book of Revelation. When you read these two together, you can understand, the end times even better. So we are at a very important time in history. So every time I come to speak about the end times, I refer end of the end times. We are at the very end of the end times, right? So we need to get ready. We need to spruce up, right? We need to work out our holiness. We need to work out our salvation with fear and trembling and get ready. And Hebrews 9:28 constantly reminds me every time I read the Bible that Jesus, when he comes again the second time, he's not coming here as an offering for sin. He's coming here for those who are eagerly waiting for him. So let me close this little study we had this evening. Are you eagerly waiting for him? Are you busy after the things of this world? God wants us to be eagerly waiting. I've been doing this ministry for 25 years. Now when I read the Bible, I have no doubts at all. God has been able to clear all my doubts. And I can challenge everyone. The end is not going to be for too long. It's going to be very soon. We as Christians, we need to get ready. Jesus Christ is coming very soon. Look out for the rapture. I pray that all of us who are listening to this little message will prepare ourselves for the rapture. God bless you. See you again sometime very soon.
In a busy world surrounded by many distractions, do we take our time to connect with God? The everyday hustle and bustle makes it difficult to connect with Him through His Word. But there is a solution. In Proverbs 2, verses 4 and 5, the writer exhorts us to seek God's wisdom as if they were hidden treasures, so that we understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. Hidden treasures will inspire you to love the Lord deeper and make your faith stronger. With this 366 days devotional book, let us become more Christ-like with each passing day. Read it daily, meditatively, devotionally, spiritually, and prayerfully.